What's good, party people? Episode 63, the RAKE Podcast, as always, powered by Swing Juice. That man is Will Middlebrooks. He is a baseball analyst, not a player, as his shirt says. That shirt's pretty dope, though. You got to fill me in on the merch.
Yeah, it's a Chicago company called Obvious Shirts. They make stuff. They like a bunch of the Cubs wear them. It just says like baseball player, or like David Ross has one that says manager. Obvious tees, like baseball's fun, like just like simple plain shirts. So I hit them up because I've talked to them on Twitter a few times in the past because they have really cool stuff. Like they had a shirt I wanted for the World Series when I was covering it for HQ on here doing shows, and it says, "I hope both teams lose."
I feel like a lot of people felt that way about the 2020 World Series.
I didn't feel that way, but I thought that shirt was hilarious, and I was like, "Oh, you don't have any XLs? Can you guys make one?" They're like, "Oh yeah, we'll make one." And I was like, "By the way, I just came with this idea. If you have the one that says baseball player, could you do that and mark it out and put analyst?" They're like, "Oh, dude, that's a great idea. We'll make that up for you." So they whipped it up and sent it to me. I got it today, actually. That's so cool. Yeah, I'll definitely have this in the rotation next year.
What would mine say? Instead of baseball analyst, what would it say? Easy.
80 poo.
This is a family-friendly show. What?
80 poo.
Baseball 80 poo. That's fine. That's applicable. You never see me throw a baseball, man.
No, I don't. No, I'm trying to think if I've seen. I don't think you showed me video or anything, actually.
Put Justin Verlander's fastball on like slow-mo, and it's pretty much the same thing.
All right, fair enough. All right. Well, yeah. So we were just talking about before we started this pod that, all right, the off season's here. We got to start filling some time and got to get our guests rolling back. Cause I'm never going to ask players to come on here during the season because it's a grind, and I'm not going to bother them with, "Hey man, you come to my pod and like on your one-off day this month." No shot. So we'll start filing some cool guys through here. Well, I don't know, some players, maybe some reporters, maybe some media members. Anybody, maybe some fans of the show, because why not?
Just looking back earlier, year ago, when we were back with the CBS Sports Fantasy Baseball Today show, early on with the Wake and Rake, we got some dudes on here, bro. We had Jackie Bradley Jr., Marcus Stroman, Brandon Crawford, Reese Hoskins. We had some
Justin Upton, Ken Rosenthal, Rachel Luba.
That's right.
Yeah.
We had Alana Rizzo, Jerry Harrison Jr.
Yeah,
we were getting on the map at one point. I don't know what happened to us.
The season started, so we started talking about baseball, like what's happening now. The off season's here, though.
Are we like the Vanilla Ice MLB podcast? We just at one time we shined and just never shined again. Let's not have that be.
I'm not sure that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, let's not have that.
Actually, based off our numbers. For you, everyone listening, we've been growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
It's been good.
Thank you, followers, listeners, viewers, social media members. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
We just keep growing, slow and steady. Wins the race.
Let's talk Astros, baby. 2022 World Series champions. Congratulations to the Houston Astros. I know a lot of people didn't want to see them hoisting the trophy at the end of the year. Let's call a spade a spade. That's just a fact. But the Houston Astros don't give a shit about your opinion.
Which is stupid. Like, and by the way, like 4 guys on that 40-man roster were a part of the 2017 team.
Key guys, but yes.
Key guys, but it's still 10% of your roster.
Right. I know. I'm with you.
You know, it's just like you can keep booing them all you want, right? It's like, regardless, Astros are still one of the great teams of like this modern era. Believe it or not. I know they only have 2 World Series. We've been through the whole dynasty not BS, whatever. 2 World Series in what, 5 years? 5 years, easy math. But I think what's most important most impressive is the 6 straight trips to the ALCS, right? Like that's really hard to do. So that we're not going to talk dynasty because no one ever agrees and people yell at us because we don't know what we're talking about. But regardless of the last 10 years, they are arguably one of the best teams in the game.
The last 10 years.
Best American
League team for sure. The Red Sox have won a couple, 2013, 2018.
Correct.
Just going off the top of my head here. Royals won one, obviously. Giants won 3, so that's the National League side of things.
But 6 straight trips, the ALCS, having it being one step away from the World Series 6 years in a row.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Who had a better decade, the Washington Nationals or the Los Angeles Dodgers?
That's really weird to think about.
It's a tough question. Dodger fans are punching the wall right now, like, we won the World Series too, damn it. We did it. They all played the same 60-game season.
I mean, I don't look at 2020 World Series. It is what it is. I do agree. Everyone had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And the Dodgers have been really good like every year the last few years. So I'm not going to take it away from them.
Let me rephrase it. If you were a player, would you rather have been a Washington National for the last 10 years or a Los Angeles Dodger for the last 10 years?
Dodger.
What, really?
Yeah.
Because you'd still have a ring, technically. It's a 60-game ring, but
doesn't matter. Still shines just as bright.
Yeah, it does, until you talk about it among your peers.
Nah. The players don't think of it that way.
They're not saying it to each other's faces. Nobody's walking up to Justin Turner and saying, that ring, pal. I don't know.
Nah, man. The players get it.
I think the players know deep down it doesn't mean as much.
I don't think anybody thinks about it. I don't think anybody cares. I think it is what it is. Everyone had the same chance to win it.
For the same reason the Astros really wanted to win in 2022, because a lot of people didn't think 2017 counted. I think the Dodgers similarly have continued to fail. And that's obviously despite the 2020 World Series. But I think they want to.
I will say, what's the one thing that has hurt the Dodgers lately? Injuries, right? Well, everyone was pretty healthy in 2020 because, of course, they didn't have the grind of the season. I get it, but injuries kill most teams. Mm-hmm. It's not just the Dodgers, but that has been their kryptonite the past few years. But that's what happens. You bring in these high-profile, older guys. They're injury prone. They're older. They're later in their career. That's kind of just what happens.
How's Daddy Daycare going for you? Jenny's been on the road a lot.
Yeah, I finally got to go on a trip with her. I went to Georgia, Tennessee, Georgia.
That had to have been fun. The game was kind of a bore, but
the game sucked, but the atmosphere was crazy. Mm-hmm. The atmosphere was nuts. I mean, it was 90,000 people getting after it. The whole third quarter, it poured rain, which sucked for Jenny, but the crowd was so into it. The student section was nuts. The band was nuts. The players were hype. I mean, I'll have to send you some videos. Like, even I was up in the booth with like Brad and Gary for half the game. And even inside the booth, I mean, the windows were open. It was like shaking. It was so loud. So Jenny had the Tennessee-Bama game where Tennessee beat Bama in Tennessee. That holds, I think that place holds, there was about 10,000 more people at that game, and she thought the Georgia game was louder. Wow. She was like, because like her sideline producer, this girl named MK, like they had a hard time like talking on the sideline, like about ideas for questions and topics and this and that, just because it was so loud there. I thought that was pretty cool.
I don't want to turn this episode into a total hypothetical, but you are just giving me ideas here. You've played in a World Series. You've been to SEC football games and have been on the field for them. What's louder, World Series or an SEC football game? Or are they similar?
Well, okay, so there are 3 times more people at the SEC game than there were at Fenway. Fenway holds 38,000 for 100,000 people those games. So it's kind of hard to compare the two when there's 60,000 less people.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
I don't know, man. Philly was really crazy, but maybe even Fenway at under 40,000 people was like when David Ortiz hit that grand slam against the Tigers in the ALCS. That had to rival it. Bostonians are louder by trade, anyways. They're just built that way. They're built different, but that moment was louder than any World Series moment. I mean, Victorino had a grand slam. He had a 3-run double off the wall. The place was really loud, but nothing compared to that Poppy grand slam against the Tigers. That was probably where I felt the ground moving under me. It was nuts. So I somehow 38 39,000 people was just as loud as the 100,000. But consistently, like throughout the game, SEC football, that was nuts.
Yeah, Jenny's been thrown right into the thick of it this year with Tennessee. I don't know how she got out
She
alive.
loves it. She loves it. And it's good for me too, because those are the games I'm watching.
Yeah.
Which I probably watching them anyways.
Right.
But I've only had an opportunity to go to one game because I've been busy with work, kids, this and that. So I finally got to go last week to Athens. And if you've never been to Athens, Georgia on a game day, I get like a big game, dude, insane college town. And I have family too, all around there. Gainesville, Jefferson, all these small towns, like 30 minutes outside of Athens. So one of my cousins, his name's Keith. He's my dad's age. My dad and him grew up together, but he's technically my cousin. He's had a tailgate there for a long time. And it's right there where they do like it's called the dog walk, where they drop off the players and they take this long walk to the stadium. And I mean, he's just in a prime location for tailgating. And I went, and there were like 250 people at his tailgate. It was insane. Like I went with Jenny, got dropped off at the stadium. I'm like, bye, babe, good luck. And I went to the tailgate. And immediately they had me doing like car bombs with them, like taking shots. And yeah, it was so much fun. But dude, Athens, Georgia on a game day, must do. Put it on your bucket list for college football.
You could have been an SEC football player. People don't talk about that enough.
Could have. Thank God I wasn't.
Texas A&M, punter, Will Middlebrooks.
I had an opportunity to play quarterback too. Let's not forget that. But so these big schools, they're like, if you're gonna play quarterback, you're not playing baseball. Like quarterback is a year-round, 24/7, 365. You can't play baseball. And they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna try. And they're like, they're not. I promise you, we're not. If we will give you the option to punt, because I was a good punter too. If you want to play baseball, you can punt, but you're not playing quarterback. So I had to either pick: am I gonna go play quarterback and give up baseball, or do I go punt and play baseball? So thank God I had to make that decision.
Yeah, I think he made, well, who knows where he would have been football wise, but I think he probably made more money going baseball.
I would have punt till I was 40.
This was before your college. What is it? What do they call the money making in college? What's it called? The
NIL.
NIL. Thank you.
NIL. Yeah.
That was before he could really make money in college. So you could have been the Heisman Trophy winner at Texas A&M, and you're not making money for 3-4 years. So
yeah, whatever.
Anyways,
I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, I guess we'll never. Let's get back on track.
Yeah, sorry.
We can talk about Philly for a little bit because I think they deserve a lot of props, man. What a season from the Phillies. I know it's heartbreaking right now. I mean, you make it to the World Series. You really fight hard with Houston Astros, who were the best team in Major League Baseball throughout the regular season, postseason. You're the only team that gave the Astros any L's in the postseason. They fought valiantly, but as I mentioned at the beginning in our postseason preview, I thought the Phillies had a real shot at making a deep run if they were able to condense the series into short series. However, as soon as the series goes 5, 6, 7 games, that's when they're forced to use their depth and lack of depth, I should say.
Game 5 is where it turns, right? They go down 3-2. If they win that game, now they lost 3-2 in game 5. If they win that game and they just have to split in Houston, we're looking at a real chance. But you're not going in there winning 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Houston's are really tough to play too. Nobody really talks about it for some reason. Houston is a very tough place to play in a big game on the road.
We've become numb because we've seen so many postseason games at the juice box in Houston.
Right. That's true.
Okay, let me ask you this. Should they have left Zach Wheeler in the ball game? It was the 6th inning. It was the middle of the 6th inning.
And he had like 78 pitches, 79 pitches, something like that.
First and third, Yordan Alvarez is coming up to the dish, and they bring in Jose Alvarado. And of course, Yordan tattoos one 450 feet to center field, and that was essentially the series series separated right there. That won it for the Astros.
Right.
Would you have left Zach Wheeler in if you were Rob Thompson?
Yeah, I understand the move because he had success against Yordan early in the series, and that's your high leverage guy. Like that's your guy you go to in the situation. That's your pocket. That's who you're going to go up against. So I understand it. I think they wish that. What inning was that? The 6th. I think they wish that was the 7th or 8th when that situation came about. But you look at how that inning took place. It like wasn't balls weren't really crushed. Wheeler was still throwing well. His velocity was up. His command was still there. There's all these check marks you have to look at when you want to take out a pitcher. Fatigue wasn't an issue. Command wasn't an issue. They weren't crushing balls. They were just got a couple knocks. Did he hit Maldonado that inning? I think he hit Maldonado. Yeah, he hit Maldonado, I think, to start the inning, like drilled him in the elbow. They thought he like leaned over the plate, but he didn't. I think Pena got a knock up the middle.
Yeah. So it went Maldonado hit by pitch, which was controversial.
Right. Borderline.
Into it.
He didn't stick it out there. He just didn't move.
Yes. It wasn't in Aldemus Diaz. Was it
correct? He didn't lean over the plate.
Anyways, Altuve grounded out. Jeremy Pena singled first and third, one out. Here comes Alvarado.
So Zach Wheeler, they also gave him 2 extra days rest. So if you're giving him that rest, you're not giving him that rest to throw 78 pitches, 79 pitches. You want
70 on the dot.
70. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he had been rolling. The stuff was still there. I know Alvarez is your guy in that situation, but I think I'm sticking with Wheeler. And I'm not just saying this isn't result based. I just think Wheeler was showing no signs of slowing down. I didn't think he made bad pitches. If he misses Maldonado, we're probably looking at nobody on 2 outs when Pena comes up, you know? Because Maldi swings a wet newspaper up there. I get it. He's there for his defense. I'm leaving Wheeler in. Like I said, you gave him 2 extra days rest. He's well rested. He's feeling good. He's your horse. It's the 6th, 70 pitches. Like he's really throwing the ball well. I'm sticking with him. But I understand Rob Thompson wanting to go to his guy and say, hey, we feel like this is maybe just a little bit better matchup because he's left-handed. He throws 101 with super sync. He's nasty. Throws a 94 mile per hour, 95 mile per hour cutter. I get it. I fully understand. It just didn't work out. So we're always going to say, well, it didn't work out. So that was a dumb move. So.
To each their own, man.
I just talked in a circle just to say, no, I would have left Wheeler in.
I would have left Wheeler in too, but I understand the lefty
for sure
situation. I think, like you said, if it was 7th and 8th inning, you make a case.
He's like 85, 90, even 85, 90 pitches. Like I'm not saying he had to throw 100 pitches, but he was rolling. He was throwing the ball really well.
I just think you go with your best stuff, similar to the Padres and the NLCS. Have your best pitcher in the most crucial moment. Who's your best?
And I think Rob Thompson felt like Alvarado.
Who's the Phillies' best pitcher?
Starter?
Anyone, bullpen or starter.
In the postseason, probably Alvarado or Sir Anthony Dominguez. But I like the lefty better.
Okay. I was looking for Zach Wheeler. That was the correct answer. You didn't get it correct.
I know, but he just already faced him twice in the game.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I'm saying I would have left Wheeler in, but I understand it. Like it's not a mystery to me why he took him out, and it makes sense. It just didn't work out. Yordan Alvarez is a freak. Let's stop blaming Rob Thompson or Alvarado and say Alvarez just is really freaking good. He just,
you know what
he hit 99 with sync. Like that's so hard to do, and he hit it 450 feet to dead center field over everything.
He had
By the way, the guy that caught the home run, someone offered him $100,000 for it, and he said no.
That's dumb.
I would have been like,
you'd rather have this leather ball sitting in your office.
Well, the thing is, if you turn down that offer, someone else will probably say, "Oh, well, I'll give you 150."
Yeah. I mean, you can do an eBay situation.
Well, it went public, which is great for him because now he can just play that game and get more for it.
Yeah,
somebody will buy it. Did you see the guy who bet $10 million on the Astros to win the World Series?
Is it Mattress
plus 750? So he made $75 million.
Is it Mattress Mac?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Wasn't that nuts?
That's nuts. I have a.
Hey, we didn't give any love to Dusty Baker.
You're right.
We skipped that when we were doing Astros, and I just want to say I have some cool stuff on Dusty Baker. All right, oldest manager to ever win a World Series at 73 years old. He's just a baseball lifer, man. Like he's been in professional baseball since he was 18. 73 years old. Like that's his whole life. He doesn't know any. Like, does he really walk away from this? Like,
He's coming back.
I don't know. Because this is the time. Like, if you're gonna go out and like ride into the sunset, I think he retires.
He said in his post game that he was going to come back, though.
He's 73.
I know.
But all right, let's look at this though. I think this is cool. He's one of two people to ever collect 1,800 hits as a player and 1,800 wins as a manager. The other guy's Joe Torre.
Wait. No, what? Give me a chance to answer. The other guy.
I just said it.
I didn't hear it.
Okay. He is one of two people to ever collect 800 hits as a player and 1,800 wins as a manager.
Okay, am I going to get it correct? Do I know who this person is?
Yeah. You just heard me say it, so you're playing dumb.
I swear on our friendship, I didn't hear it.
That means a lot. Go for it.
What era?
That'll give it away.
Just tell me.
Joe Torre.
Oh, Joe Torre. Okay.
I didn't know that. I didn't know Joe Torre had that many hits. Joe Torre had 2,342 hits.
As a catcher.
2,326 wins. So he was really close to being like exactly the same.
Joe Torre was a catcher, yeah?
Catcher, first base, yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive.
It's really impressive.
Yeah.
But I mean, Dusty had 2,093 wins, I believe. Yet everybody just talked about, oh, we can't get a ring. So I'm just glad we can put that to bed because he's a Hall of Famer and this is like a cherry on top of a Hall of Fame career. And I think now's the time. Like, go home, man. Go home. You did it. You were a Hall of Famer anyways. You did it. Go. Bye.
You know where he lives? Beautiful Sacramento, California. Dusty Baker.
Why?
He lives in Granite. He's his son went to Jesuit High School, Sacramento, California. Darren, and then he ended up going to Cal Berkeley. He resides in beautiful Sacramento, California, best place on earth. That's what they're telling me. Those aren't my words. That's just what they say.
Okay. Okay. Hey, do you think one more quick question? We get some other stuff and we get away from the World Series. What do you think the Phillies look like next year? Do you think they're good? So I'm looking at their payroll.
They picked up the option on Nola.
Picked up Nola. Let's see. Syndergaard is a free agent. That's not the end of the world, but I think they need another starting pitcher. Ranger Suarez is good.
Yeah.
He's good. But if they get one more, and that could be Syndergaard, but I don't think he made a good amount of money this year. So I don't know.
Dombrowski's going to spend some money. You know he is.
He will. So right now they're slated to have like between 170, $180 million payroll, which I'm guessing will be a little higher if they make some additions.
Mm-hmm.
Gene Segura is a free agent. Zach Eflin just declined his player option of like 15 mil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was questionable.
Yeah, me too. But I think I don't think it's about the money. I think he wants he wants to stay. He's always been a Philly.
Mm-hmm.
He was there when I was there. I think he just wants to extend it past 1 year. So Zach let's say he signs a 3-year. Even if he signed like a 3-year 39, it would be less AAV.
He's not going to be a starting pitcher. No, even if he says
you don't know that though. He could be. He has been in the past. I know they hadn't gone great. I get it.
If the Phillies want to get to where they want to get to, Zach Eflin is not in the starting rotation.
Well, there has to be something under the table, something that's already been discussed for him to turn down that 15 mil.
Yeah.
So there has to be something in line. So I would like to think he's on his way back. But the Phillies can't just be good again. They got to be great. The NL East is. The Mets are going to spend money. They're going to be good again. The Braves are set to be good for at least the next 5 years.
Keep going.
Yeah, I know, but like legit, like for the next 5 years. Yeah. And then some of those guys are getting towards the end. Miami, who knows what happens with them? They have pitching, so.
Yeah, the Mets already re-signed Edwin Diaz.
And then we never know with Washington, so I think they're still a ways away.
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah. So I was just thinking, like, what are they going to look like? But I think they're going to be really competitive again, especially with the expanded playoff system. Like, obviously, they were the last team to get in this year, the 60 in the NL. Doesn't matter. Just get in. They have big game players.
Edwin Diaz got 5 years, $102 million. It took Steve Cohen less than 24 hours to get his credit card out in the offseason.
Yeah. That big black Visa. That black card. Is that black card or MasterCard? That's a MasterCard.
Do you have the Capital One Venture card? You ever seen those?
No. I'm Wells Fargo. I'm a Wells Fargo guy.
What a loser. The Venture card, I don't mean to brag here, but it's metal. It's a metal card. So
yeah. I've seen those.
Such a flex, dude. Anytime I go,
you drop it on purpose. Oh, whoops. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, and like the earth shakes, shattering because the card dropped on the floor. And
you're like, I have good credit. My Nico scores over 800.
My wife is a nurse. Thank you very much.
I do podcasts, but my wife works hard.
My wife saves
Trust
children
me,
so that I can talk about it. Yeah, my wife saves children so that I can talk baseball with you.
I save my children a lot.
Yeah.
But not as much as my wife.
Later on in this episode, we're going to do a little bit of a season review. Favorite moments, favorite player, which player caught your attention the most. That's coming up. Just one more note about the Houston Astros before we do continue, though. What a factory, man. So you lose Carlos Correa and steps Jeremy Pena. You lose Evan Gattis and Carlos Beltran. Here comes Jordan Alvarez. You lose Zach Greinke, Garrett Cole. There's another starting pitcher in there that I'm forgetting about. Charlie Morton.
Yep.
In comes Framber Valdez and Jose Urquidy and Christian Javier.
Oh, dude. Okay. I got to throw this in. Since you're in the middle of that, you just triggered me. Not in a bad way, like in a good way, you triggered me. Shout out Houston Astros International Scouting Department.
Yeah.
They need some love. Scouts don't get love. Listen, Altuve, $15,000 they signed him for as a free agent, 8-time All-Star, 3-time batting champ. Framber Valdez, $15,000 signing bonus. Luis Garcia, $20,000. Abreu out of the pen, $40,000 signing bonus. Christian Javier, maybe one of the nastiest fastballs in baseball, $10,000 signing bonus. We're seeing these kids sign for $7-8 million. Look at what those guys signed for total, and look what they did. All those guys were a huge piece of the Houston Astros.
Jordan Alvarez,
Houston Astros International Scouting.
Jordan Alvarez was acquired as a minor leaguer before he ever played a minor league baseball game for Fields, reliever for the Dodgers.
Was it the Dodgers?
Uh-huh. Hey,
he wouldn't look right in a Dodger uniform.
You know who doesn't have a Capital One metal Visa card? The Houston Astros International Scouting Department.
No, they have just a checkbook.
$55,000. Altuve, Christian Javier, Framber Valdez, and I'm
60,000. So Altuve, Valdez, Garcia,
thank you,
and Javier. That's 60. That's 60 mil or 60,000. So excuse me.
Yeah. Pretty sure
they don't have a credit card. They just have a checkbook and they balance it every month.
Yeah.
They sit at the coffee table in the dining room, balance their checkbook because they don't spend very much money.
Let's talk about the regular season a little bit, huh?
Okay, I don't even remember what happened, so you're gonna have to go first.
Before we jumped on this pod, we were talking about the homer. We were talking about some of our favorite moments, and we were both like, "Who the fuck won the 2022 home run derby?" Because we were talking about J-Rod.
I remember it was a hell of a show.
J-Rod.
All I remember is J-Rod.
All I remember is J-Rod put himself on the map, but we both
and Alonso pumping balls off the Dippin' Dot stands and left.
Yeah.
But I could not remember. I had to Google who won the home run derby.
For both of us.
No idea.
Yeah. It was Juan
Soto would have been my fifth guess.
Yeah. Anyways, what was your favorite moment from the regular season? Do you have one, or do you want me to go first so you can chew on?
I have a couple.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go in depth because I haven't really thought about it. You're throwing this on me last minute.
Mm-hmm.
This was early in the season, but Miguel Cabrera, 3,000 hits.
Yeah. People forget about that because it happened so early.
It was early, but 3,000 hits is such a feat. We got to shout that out. Also a feat, Aaron Judge, 62 ding dongs, 60-second homer. I guess we're talking a moment. So the 60-second homer there in Texas. I thought the Phillies ending their 11-year playoff drought was really cool. And then speaking about the Phillies, Harper homer in the 8th inning to send them to the World Series. That was iconic for not just his career, but for the Phillies organization. Like you're going to see that on highlight films for a long time for the Phillies. And that's like the most recent one burned into my soul that I could think about. But so Miggy 3000, Judge 60-second homer, Phillies in the drought, Homer's homer, might as well be. Harper's homer in the 8th to send the Phillies to the World Series in the NLCS.
I like that. You know what's sad about Judge's 62 is, unfortunately, it's becoming an afterthought among Yankee fans. Because of the disappointment in the postseason, they booed Judge in both the ALDS and the American League Championship Series. And all of a sudden, it's like people forgot Aaron Judge set the American League single season home run record.
And that carried their team.
And that's sad, dude. That's really fucking sad.
That's baseball. It's like whatever you do.
That's not baseball. That's New York.
That's big market baseball.
And there's a lot of people like I was jumped on somebody's radio show like 2 weeks ago, and they're like, why would Judge want to go anywhere else but New York? It's the biggest spotlight in baseball. Why would he want to do anything but be in the biggest spotlight with all the attention, all the money, et cetera, et cetera? And I said, maybe he doesn't want to play in a toxic environment. And I'm not saying one's better than the other, because some people actually are fueled by toxicity. Some people they're fueled by the headlines, the media, the booing. Like some people live for that. And Aaron Judge might be that guy. But if Aaron Judge is not that guy, if Aaron Judge is a typical California type kid, a little bit more relaxed, doesn't love the whole toxic environment, he grew up in California, maybe San Francisco is the place to be. Maybe Los Angeles is the place to be. You know what I mean? Like that there's Reese Hoskins talked about it. I just posted about this on our Wake and Rake social media pages. The East Coast environment, fans, media, et cetera, it's just different. It's just you can speak to this. I mean, you played for the Padres and the Boston in the Boston Red Sox in consecutive years. It's just different. And so if Aaron Judge doesn't stay in New York, I won't be surprised at all, because I think it's a matter of I don't want to play in a city where I hit 62 home runs and then I get booed 1 week later.
Some players thrive off of that pressure. Like some players aren't like, look at guys like Xander Bogaerts. Like Boston's a really hard place to play. Dustin Pedroia, Big Papi, like these are all stars. Aaron Judge is a star. I don't think Aaron Judge gives two shits about that. I don't think he cares about being booed. Like I really don't. I don't think he cares. I think he understands the fans there. I think he understands why they booed. I think he it doesn't matter if he likes it or not. He knows it doesn't matter. He's just going to put he's that guy. He's going to put his head down, work. He's going to say all the right things. He's going to go, hey, they needed me to perform. I didn't perform. That's why they booed. That's who he is. I don't think it bothers him one bit. And if it does, it bothers him in a way that it pushes him to like a next level. So I don't think that is going to, if he signs elsewhere, I don't think him being booed in the postseason has anything at all to do with it. If he goes to San Francisco, it's because they give him a longer contract, more money, which they're going to have to, because he's going to lose money in taxes. And they know that. And it's home, which means a lot to players, especially if you're going to finish your career somewhere. You want to be home close to friends and family, because believe it or not, there's life outside of baseball for these guys. So that plays into decisions as well. I think he's going to be a New York Yankee. They can't let him go. They will never hear the end of it.
Yeah. Point being, don't forget about his 62 home runs, because that was incredible. My favorite moment from the regular season, this is going to make you feel real good inside, Brooksy. My first one, not to get too cheesy, was coming up to Boston.
Oh, that was
watching
fun.
a game with you, going out with Jenny that night. That was great for me. I got to see Fenway Park for the first time.
That was fun. You're right.
That was great. That was mine, but not to get too cheesy or anything. But my favorite baseball movement was Albert Pujols reaching 700 home runs, because I thought that was a feat that could not be accomplished.
I did not think. I thought he would have to come back next year.
I didn't think
he got hotter than hot.
It's 6 home runs at the All-Star break, I think.
Yeah,
6. He was
that OPS against lefties was like 9 million. Like in the second half, it was insane. He even started hitting righties there at the end. It was like didn't matter if you were throwing anything over the plate, he was going to barrel it. It's awesome.
He should come back. Just saying.
Nah,
he doesn't want to. I know, but if you hit 950 OPS against left-handed pitching, you should come back.
Nah.
A couple others that stood out to me was not everyone remembers this one, but it encapsulates the Angels season perfectly. Is Mike Trout rolling his eyes at his pitcher for when he was tipping.
Who was tipping?
He was tipping. So yeah, and so Mike Trout's out in center field, just like, dude, what are you doing?
That video like reminded me of the Real Muto video when his guy's running out of the bullpen all funky, and Real Muto's like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah. That's good. The third one I had was Cal Raleigh hitting a walk-off home run to send the Seattle Mariners.
Oh, good call.
First time in more than 2 decades. That was a special.
That was. I purposely did not say the Mariners go into the playoffs because I knew you were drooling to get that one out. You couldn't wait. So I was like, I know that's at the top of his list, so I'm not going to say it.
You always call me a Padres homer. Are you saying I'm a Mariners homer now? Or am I both?
You can be both.
Okay. Which player caught your attention and put himself on the map the most in 2022?
100% Jeremy Pena. There were a lot of good players, but Jeremy Pena.
Mm-hmm.
And as the postseason, like I watched him in the regular season, I'm going, all right, this guy's really good, but Julio's better. Like Julio's going to win that Rookie of the Year. J-Rod's a stud. Jeremy Pena was just like so consistent. He had some injury trouble. He got hurt a little bit. But really like step back and look at the situation. You're coming onto a team that is booed everywhere you go. You're called a cheater, even though you were in like high school when that happened, or University of Maine, or I don't even know what year he was drafted, whatever. But this kid's story, number one, Dominican, moves to Rhode Island, goes to high school in Rhode Island, goes to University of Maine, which isn't known for their, I mean, they have a good program, but they're not known for like spitting out big leaguers.
I didn't even know they had a baseball player program.
Yeah, like that's a tough place to play baseball. Look at how cold it is up until like June. And he has to step in and fill the shoes of Carlos Correa, a guy who's been there, who was a leader, who was an everyday household name for the Houston Astros fans. He did it seamlessly, flawlessly. He wasn't like an elite of an elite player this year, but as a rookie, he was very, very good. And then you see what he did in the postseason: LCS MVP, World Series MVP, big homers, big defensive plays. He was like he's been there for 10 years. He's like he's been there for all 6 of those last ALCSs that the Astros have been to. But I don't know. There's just a maturity about him, a calmness, a slow heartbeat that he is just perfect for that team. He's a perfect shortstop in the big leagues, and this kid's going to be special to watch grow into what we all think he's going to be, and just a really special big leaguer for the next 10 years.
I went with O'Neal Cruz, shortstop for the National League. You went shortstop in the American League. I went O'Neal Cruz.
He's the most toolsy player in the league when it comes to like rocket arm, hitting the ball a million off the bat. He can run. He's 9 feet tall.
So he played 87 games this year. 87. He had 17 home runs, 54 RBIs. He had the 5th most home runs by National League shortstops this year. He barely played more than half the games. And he had the 5th most home runs among National League shortstops. He had a 744 OPS. A lot of that was hurt by his strikeout numbers. That's got to improve. He has a lot of swing and miss in his swing.
When there's that much pop, there's normally swing and miss.
But he runs as fast as Tyreek Hill. He hits balls as hard as Giancarlo Stanton.
I still don't believe he's Tyreek Hill fast.
Keep in mind that Tyreek Hill has a helmet and pads on.
I don't care. We're looking at a straight line like 90 feet.
It was based straight off of StatCast. That's all I'm saying.
I don't want to burst your bubble, but he ain't faster than Tyreek Hill.
StatCast says that his sprint speed was 0.1 feet per second faster than what NFL Next Gen Stats had Tyreek Hill last season. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill had pads and a helmet on.
Okay.
And O'Neal Cruz is 6'6". Nuts. Regardless, man.
6'7".
Is he 6'7"? He's a freak. That's all I know.
He's a freak. I'm just playing devil's advocate here because it's fun.
Yeah, no doubt. O'Neal Cruz is my guy. We'll continue on this offseason. Brooksy mentioned that we're going to get a lot of guests on, which should make things very interesting. Maybe we'll talk to some players about what they're going to do in free agency. I don't know. Maybe.
I want to hear about the new rules too from players.
Interesting.
That'd be good.
The season's going to look completely different in 2023. Completely different.
For like the first couple weeks, and then we're all going to fade to black and we're going to forget about it. This should become normal. And everyone's going to be like, oh, wow, this is, I love 2 hour and 30-minute games every night. And then for some reason, there's going to be something that like the fans are going to find a reason to be pissed about regardless, because that's what we do. That's 2022. That's what we do, is like, we just find shit to complain about. I'm curious to see what the next set of issues are going to be.
They're just going to direct it all to Elon Musk and Twitter.
Oh my God, don't get me going. You got to pay for, okay, mark? Here's my, what?
You're going to lose your check mark?
Oh, I'm not paying for that.
I'm not paying for it either. No
Here's
way.
The issue. Anybody can pay for a check mark now and say, I'm Will Middlebrooks. And then you're in here like, let's say someone's like being racist or like anti-Semitic or just saying nasty things and not anything that would represent me as a human being, but they're verified and it says my name. How does someone know it's not me?
Yeah.
Like how anything for money, I guess, since Elon Musk is really struggling for money. What are we doing?
Yeah, we'll see. Nothing's permanent or.
Well, so we have a good friend who was just here for dinner. She came over tonight and she's very high up in Facebook. She works for Facebook, like high up with them. And she said it's happening. Like it's happening. And I was like, well, can you guys make something that's like, kind of like Twitter? And she's like the copyright issue, like that, you run into so many problems. Copyright, you can only copy it so much, or it's an issue. I know we're like off the rails right now, but it blows my mind that if you're a verified person, like it's not about being verified or not. It's more about protecting yourself from things people say and do online. Like it's for what? I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. It doesn't matter. This is a baseball podcast. Whatever.
On the next podcast,
point. It's stupid.
On the next Wake and Rake podcast, we'll break down Twitter and Elon Musk. No, we will not. We'll talk free.
I'm out on Elon.
We'll talk offseason.
Chiba, like
Elon Musk is not getting a contract from the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge might. We'll see. We'll talk about it more. Thanks for joining us, folks. Wake and Rake podcast powered by Swing Juice. Peace out.